I made this e-commerce brand over 330k in extra revenue from emails alone in just 2 months, and in this video I'm gonna break down the exact strategy I used and how you can get the same results for your e-commerce brand. You can see this is the proven screenshot for the brand. In just 2 months they did over 800k in revenue, and over 40% of that came from emails alone. 1/3 was from campaigns, 2/3 was from flows alone, and this image just briefly did anything because we were just getting started with that. But overall, over 330k extra revenue in just 2 months alone. As you can see, the growth month over month, or actually it's gonna be 2 months over 2 months, was quite significant for both total revenue, which went up by 80%, and then the email revenue, which went up by almost 60%. So let's talk about the intro, and a little bit of a background for the brand itself. So the list itself is super small, but the list quality is superior. And I'm saying this because a lot of brands think that like, hey, if I have a small email list, then, I can't get any result with emails because this is just a small list and, it's pretty much not gonna be monetized in the right way. It couldn't be further from the truth. This brand has around 15k subscribers, which is not a lot. And as you can see, they're making a ton of money, over like 160k per month from a small list. Just because the quality of the list is super high, and then obviously the AOV is also pretty big. So like both of these are allowing us to make such results for this brand. Now we've been working with this brand together for a little over a year, and we've been growing with them since then, pretty much since we started, which is always nice to see. And we get between 30 to 40% of the total revenue from Klaviyo each month. Again, this 2 months period from January to February this year, we got them over 40%, but there are some months where it was around 30 or 35-ish%. But these months, we did very well in terms of optimizing the flows, sending the right campaigns, and so on and so on. So now let's talk about the flows, because you can see we've got quite a lot of them. The main thing is that we're having 2 welcome flows based on the customer profile. That in itself is telling us like, okay, do we need to send content for B2C customers or B2B customers? And then based on that, we're targeting them, with the right objections and messaging and all of that as well. Then one of the top performing flow for them is the customer thank you flow. Now this is not your usual thing, right? Because usually the welcome flow is gonna be the top performing one. But if you were to add up the revenue from both of the flows, it would actually be the second top performing flow, right after the customer thank you. And instead of thinking like, hey, how is it possible, it shouldn't be like that, we're still doubling down on this customer thank you flow. Because if people are buying, relatively quickly after the first purchase, which is usually between 15 to 30 days, just because they're B2B as well, that's allowing us just to make way more revenue. And as you can see, the growth for all of these flows month over month has been fairly significant. Other than that, abandoned checkout, generated 40k during those 2 months, which is quite great as well. On top of that, we have abandoned cart as well. So again, you can see that a lot of brands don't have this flow, but by having it, which is again adding abandoned cart on top of our abandoned checkout flow, we did like recover an extra 50% of the carts, which is quite insane, and always great to see. Then one of the other flows that are doing quite well is the replenishment flow. Again, like I said before, for this brand specifically, post-purchase flow is the top performing one, so I'm not surprised to see that replenishment flow is doing great as well. Then we have first purchase anniversary. So this is like an extended feedback win-back flow, like our regular win-back flow goes live after 90 days. This one goes live after 1 year, but as you can see, it still generated some decent revenue. And then an extra flow, which we call window shoppers. This is like a flow for high engaged buyers, which are not in any of the abandonment flows, but again, it made an extra 6k revenue in just 2 months. So again, it's nothing serious, not like a complete game changer, but if we're talking about optimizing your email revenue from flows specifically, this is exactly what you need to do. Then this is the flow setup that we had. So for welcome flow, again, we had 2 versions. Each one had 6 different emails in each of them. For abandoned cart, checkout, and browse abandonment, we are having 4 emails. For window shoppers, which is the one cool flow I mentioned before, which is like an extra one, we have 3 emails. For sad abandonment, we had 1 email. Post-purchase, initially it had 5 emails, but again, we are doubling down on what works. So currently it has 7 emails and is doing very well. Both replenishment and win-back flows have 3 emails each, and then post-purchase anniversary flows have 2 emails. There's 1 flow, but with 2 emails. And this is really what you need in terms of the flow setup. Like you could be adding 5 different flows, but the truth is that they probably either wouldn't make anything or they would fall under one of these flows. And this is really all you need to have a very solid setup. Just make sure that you have all of these flows the exact length that you have here. You can make them 1 email longer or shorter, doesn't really matter that much. But then what matters is the content that you have inside of them. We're covering, again, all of the objections. We are promoting different deals. If someone doesn't like specific one, then we're promoting different one. We're promoting their best sellers rather than trying to promote, products that are not being sold out. We're promoting the proven ones already working well, and we're just doubling down on what works instead of reinventing the wheel. One more thing to mention about the flows is that we have a really, really heavy focus on the post-purchase flows. Like I said before, they are performing well, they're generating a ton of sales, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be doubling down on that, okay? Welcome flow split is based on zero-party data, so again, we're collecting data from customers, whether they're a B2C customer or a B2B customer, because again, it really, really matters in terms of the messaging. For example, for B2C customers, we'll be talking about benefits for them, for their specific use of the product. But for B2B customers, we are talking about like how our product is going to benefit their business and that their customers are going to be satisfied, then that this business's LTV will be higher because customers will keep coming back, and so on and so on. Then we also have dialed in recovery flows. As you saw, we did like 60k from both of these, and the brand in total made like 800k. So it's not 10% recovery, but like around, let's say, 9% ish, not even like 7.5% card recovery, which I think is quite nice across the period of 2 months alone from only 2 flows. So yeah, these are doing very, very well. Then we've been also running a bunch of A/B tests on most important flows, testing things like time delays, first email in each flow, different discounts, different formats, but also different angles. And if we had a campaign that was doing well, we would just add it to a flow or A/B test it against the current flow email just to see if it would outperform the current and old email flow. And then just doubling down on what works. So again, we've been working with them for like almost a year. So we already had a bank of proven campaign ideas that we knew they're gonna do very well. So we just did it. We implemented these. We started doing them on a monthly basis, and the result is, like you saw, over 30% revenue from emails in just 2 months alone. Some of the campaigns, they are not even sorted by the top revenue. I didn't want to do that just to show you like what it actually looks like to run these campaigns. That sometimes you're gonna have a campaign with average clicks but a lot of revenue. Other time you're gonna have campaigns with way higher clicks but less revenue, and it happens based on what you're sending. Some campaigns are meant to generate clicks, some of them are meant to generate more sales, and obviously you want to be having both for every single campaign, so a lot of clicks and conversions as well. But the truth is that some campaigns are just kind of pre-framing people, and even though we're getting less clicks, those clicks are way more qualified because we pre-sold them more on the product in the email. So again, this is what it looks like. Pretty much the screenshot here shows you mainly campaigns from February. As you can see, the revenue per campaign really differs. Sometimes it's gonna be 1.8k, the other time it's gonna be 6, 2, 6.1, 4, 5, and so on and so on. You can see, so it really changes, but that's why we're testing different angles, promoting different stuff. It's always good to have a variety of the content that accomplishes all of the things that you want. So getting qualified clicks, getting more clicks in general, and then having good opens, which we do have there. We're not going to spam for sure. Most of these have an open rate of like 50-60%, which is quite nice. So for the campaign strategy, we are mainly targeting engaged segments, but we have some small tweaks. We're adding segments like potential purchasers, one-time buyers, bot X, which is a specific product, and then we sell them cross-sell campaigns with complementary products, non-buyers in general, and then most recent and old buyers. We want to target all of these segments just to go beyond our engaged ones and target more people in general. Mostly we're using design-based campaigns for this brand. We do plain text from time to time, but it's gonna be mostly design-based ones. Cross-selling to existing customers and one-time buyers. We're doing it based on top-selling items for repeat customers. This is very, very important because I see a lot of brands promoting their best sellers to existing customers, but then it turns out that these are best sellers for first-time buyers and repeat customers are buying completely different products. So make sure that you go to your Shopify analytics and check what is actually being sold, or what are the top sold products to your repeat customers. And again, we did it just to increase the LTV because we knew that post-purchase flows are generating tons of revenue. So we know that sending additional campaigns to recent buyers or even old buyers is a very low hanging fruit, and it can get this brand way more LTV and way more profit per order and per customer. Then we're also promoting bestsellers to non-buyers, which are again bestsellers for first-time buyers. Again, we're constantly testing new angles and approaches. Even though we have a bank of proven angles, we keep testing new ones and new ones just because we want to be, striving for greatness. And whenever we stop testing, this is when we stop improving, which is why we always keep testing every single week and every single month. And then none of the campaigns that I showed you included discounts, so the margin is very, very high. Again, we didn't run any sale whatsoever. We didn't have even a single discount code across those 2 months. Aside from the flows, I'm talking about campaigns specifically, and we were able to generate like 1/3 of this brand's in revenue from campaigns alone. And now, if you want to get the same results for your ecom brand, if you want us to scale it and get between 30 to 40% more revenue coming from emails every single month, you can book a free consultation call with me. There's gonna be a link below this video. Again, it's entirely free. I'm gonna take a look at your Klaviyo account. I'm gonna do an audit and tell you whether we are a good fit and whether we can help you. If we can, then I'm gonna tell you what it would look like if we were to partner up together. So if you are serious about scaling your ecom brand and want to take it to the next level, book a call with me. Again, it's entirely free. I'm gonna give you the Klaviyo audit with the exact action plan of steps that you can implement to see the improvement in your result right away. So make sure that you do it, and other than that, it's gonna be this for this video. Make sure to watch the other one. Cheers.